Hey everybody, and welcome back to the 9 Acres. So glad that you joined us. It's been a weekend. It's been a very busy weekend for us. We had the farm boss's birthday party. Then we also had the Labor Day celebration at our local town with parade, car show. Saw some really cool cars that I'm going to show you some videos of, and especially a really cool F100 1971 four-wheel drive pickup. It was awesome. Won the best truck at the show, as it should have. Yeah. Okay, to me, you got the best in show right here.
It ain't gonna be a. It ain't. I ain't. But it's gonna be painted by me, my baby. That's about it. Yeah, that's about what
That's what I want to see.
Y'all know I'm not like major car guy, but all these awesome race cars, that Oldsmobile like I showed you, that is the stuff right there. F100, high boy, four-wheel drive, standard transmission. I want. This is a badass truck. Howdy, y'all. Welcome to the 9 Acres. We have farming videos, cooking videos, livestock videos, and overall just share our children, our grandchild, and our life with you. We have a lot of fun on the 9 Acres. We enjoy you to stop by, sit down, have a cup of coffee, and enjoy our visit. I'm trying to get some stuff done around the homestead, and one of the blaring things around here, if you've noticed, is we haven't got any rain, and when you don't get rain, grass doesn't grow, but what does grow? weeds. We have giant ragweed going berserk around here. We have some other unwanted weeds growing, and it's about time that I get the brush cutter out and I try to do stuff. I generally wait until about August to September before I start doing mowing. For one, it's mature, I can do away with it, and there is some research that does say that you can get a pretty good kill on those weeds before they actually finish going to seed and they're at that full maturity in the hottest time of the year and the driest time of the year. So I kind of go by that thinking, again, you guys see me start building on that sprayer. That kind of got put on the back burner. It was starting to get a little late to spray anyway, so I'll come back to that sprayer this winter. That'll be our wintertime project. So I broke out the 1050, and I thought it was time to break out the 307 John Deere. Old enough to vote like several times over. It was a really good deal for me. I explained that in like one of my very first videos I put out. I talked about, in fact, our very first video, I talked about our 1050, our 307 John Deere brush cutter. It's not a bush hog, it's a brush cutter. Bush hog is a brand. Brush cutter is the true name for it. But I know that we need to check it over before we start mowing with this guy. So I thought I'd bring you along, show you a few of those tips on what you need to check if you own a brush cutter on your small acreage, what you need to be looking for, how you need to service it before you get started for the year. By the way, the cicadas, can't do a thing about it. Part of nature. You'll have to listen to it, but I try. Okay, so first things first. This is a cover that covers up the gearbox that's for this mower. So we need to remove the cover so we can actually see what's going on. And I'm gonna hope there isn't a whole bunch of really mean wasps underneath here. Could make for a good blooper film if that's the case. Hold on, this might require a tool or two. Be right back. So what's that old saying? If it first fails, get a bigger hammer. This cover slides back off of here, so it kind of gets stuck. You gotta give it a tap, a little bit of a tap, get it to work its way back. And just like that, we should be free. And good story, we don't have any really mean wasps. We do have a mud dauber's nest. I'm not scared of a mud dauber. We'll get that out of the way. So what we have here is we have a 90-degree gearbox. Power comes from the tractor through this PTO shaft into a shaft that lays horizontal in here and turns. It has what's called a spur gear on it that then runs a vertical shaft that's tied to our big blades underneath here that spins horizontal. So it's called a right angle gearbox. These right angle gearboxes are supposed to have gear oil in them. 80, 90, 85, 140. Some even have a really heavy oil, which they actually call it a grease. It's a non-forming grease called EPO grease. It's like a zero weight oil. So we are going to pull the check plug on this, to check the oil in this gearbox, you need to do that at the beginning of every season. Did you listen to Dale? He said the beginning of every season you need to check the oil. If you do a lot of acres, or if that oil is a little bit low, you need to check it more often. By the way, stained t-shirt, working on the farm. If it bothers you, sorry, I'm gonna get way dirtier. But let's go ahead and pull this dipstick and let's check and see if there's any oil on the dipstick. Now each one of these gearboxes are a little bit different. A lot of them will have a plug on the top and a plug on the side to check to see, or some will just have a plug on the back side that's relatively halfway up. Now once that oil reaches that halfway up plug and starts coming out, that's the proper amount. This gearbox actually has a dipstick on it that's underneath our vent plug. So we pull up our vent plug. Now most of the time you can do most of this work with an adjustable end wrench. Some people call them a crescent wrench. That's the brand name, or a brand name. It's called an adjustable end wrench. You can use it to do most all of this job. So we pull our dipstick, wipe it off. Now this gearbox, by the previous owner, they actually put grease in it, that non-forming grease. And it's good on the dipstick, so we're going to call it good for now. So we're going to tighten that back up. Okay, so Dale, we're ready to go mow, right? Hold on there, Sparky. We're not done yet. So yes, we now have checked our gearbox. We make sure that there's some lubrication in it of some type. We have oil, we have a non-forming grease, something. I would recommend that it has oil. Most all of them recommend the oil. This gearbox is going to need resealed. That's why the previous owner put grease in it, because the grease doesn't disappear out of the seals. Now, the other thing, this mower, when I purchased this mower, it would not mow. Well, the reason why is because it has a slip clutch on it, and that slip clutch was ruined. All of the slip clutch discs were out of it. So what's a slip clutch? Well, when you come into, say you hit a rock or you hit a tree or something that's too hard, instead of damaging the mower or damaging your tractor, the slip clutch will allow these discs to slip and overrun, so you won't damage anything. It's a safety feature. Now, our slip clutch, you should, at the beginning of every year, loosen your slip clutch off, turn off and on your tractor, PTO several times, and get it to slip. Because the worst thing that happens is people leave these outside and they rust and they stay stuck. What happens when you hit something? It don't slip. What happens then? It costs you money, because you tear up your tractor, you tear up your brush cutter. And I don't know about you, but if it starts costing me money, I'm out. So look in your operator's manual. It will show you how to break loose your slip clutch for the first use. Now, I already did that when I pulled this up here, and I tightened it back up. I might have done a little mowing ahead of time, just so you guys know. Now, there's a couple other things that we need to talk about. Now, like I told you guys several episodes back, when I talked about what I used to do for a living, I started off as a parts guy for ag equipment, tractors, combines, all of those type of things. There was one common thing that I found as a theme in that. There is a very important tool that is readily available that most of you don't seem to have or do not know how to operate. I'm joking with some of you, but you're going to know what I'm talking about as soon as you see this. Behold, a grease gun. If you are in the business of farming, homesteading, anything along that line, you need to invest in a grease gun. It doesn't have to be some $200 battery operated super laser supported grease gun. I know they don't laser support grease guns, but you're following what I'm saying. It can be the $29.99 Harbor Freight special or Walmart special or O'Reilly Auto Parts or whoever's in your area, and get a tube of all-purpose grease. It will save you thousands of dollars on the homestead. If you grease your implements, nothing in this world has ever broken because it was over-greased. Things may have slipped. Things may have no longer grabbed a hold solid because they had too much lubrication, but is that a bad thing? Maybe in certain situations. But for the most part, you can clean it off and go back to work, but it didn't break. I don't know how many people I've seen that spent thousands of dollars because they didn't use one of these. They didn't grease U-joints and bearings and the simplest things. So do regular maintenance with the grease gun. So on a brush cutter, where do we have grease zerks? Well, the number one place we have grease zerks is right here. The number one place we have grease zerks is on our PTO shaft. We'll at least have one at this end where we have a U-joint and one at that end where we have a U-joint. You should grease those till you physically see grease. So there's the one on that end, and then I have one on this end. So we're going to pump, and then we'll hear that small little crack where the seal actually allows the grease to release. As soon as you see that and you see a small amount of grease, you can stop. Now on this brush cutter, I have one more, and that's on the slip clutch. We only grease it at the beginning of the season, and we only give it 4 pumps of grease. The reason there's a grease zerk there is if that slip clutch slips, it needs to be able to turn freely. So the only time it will spin there is when the slip clutch slips. That's why we don't grease it a bunch. We gave it 4 pumps of grease. The only other place that we have a grease zerk on this brush cutter is right here where our tail wheel pivots. Same way, pump grease until you see it come out of the spot that turns. Okay, we've got grease coming out. We're good now. Now, some will have a grease zerk on the hub of the wheel. This one does not. Wow, that was hard work, wasn't it? We just did a whole bunch. What we did was we are guaranteeing ourselves the satisfaction to know that we have done the proper maintenance on this mower. So it will not be our fault from lack of maintenance if we have a failure or a part failure. We now can be reassured in the fact that we've done our job. It's just like changing oil in your car or truck, right? If you don't do it, what happens to your engine? The engine seizes up. And then that costs you money. And anything on the homestead that costs you money means that's less to develop on the homestead. So we won't even get into servicing our tractor right now. Come back again next week. I'll show you a video on checking and servicing out our tractor to make sure it's healthy and ready to go so that we can do that job. Guys, if you're enjoying these kind of videos, please let us know in the comments. If there's something that you would like to see more of from us, less of from us, please send us a message. Either comment on a video. Our email address is on our About page. While you're on our Home and About page, you'll also find links to our membership area. In our membership area, you get sneak peeks to future videos. You get to influence exactly what we bring you in the future. And here in the near future, you may have member exclusive only videos that I go more in depth into these types of projects. I'll show you when I reseal gearboxes, when I service the tractor, when I'm doing mechanic work, when we actually process animals. You'll be completely influential in things that happen directly here on the homestead. So you might check out our member area if financially you can. If not, you're still part of our family, and we fully understand and we'll still love you the same. Till next time, guys, farm on, keep strong. We love you, and so does God.